On today's show, we compared the 2006 Volkswagen Jetta with the new 2014 Toyota Sienna. Here's what happened. First, we did a fuel capacity test where we sent the cars off from an unspecified location in Holland, and they took off in different directions, the Jetta going north and the minivan going south. Then it was just a matter of time to see which car would run out of fuel first. The larger minivan had a gas tank capacity of 20 gallons and averaged 21.5 miles to the gallon. This gave it an overall driving range of 430 miles, or 693 kilometers. Meanwhile, our Jetta was still cruising northward with plenty of gasoline to spare. We were wondering if we would run out of country before we ran out of gas. The much smaller sedan also had a smaller gas tank, holding only 14.5 gallons, but it made up for this with an astounding 38.5 miles to the gallon. This gave it an overall range of 558 miles, or 898 kilometers. So what does this mean? It means that while our behemoth of a minivan could barely make it to the shores of Outer Banks, currently frozen over in the middle of February, our wonderful little Jetta not only made it past the country's border, but made it all the way up to Montreal, and we would have kept going if we hadn't stopped to go sightseeing. Not only did we calculate the car's distances, but we got their total displacement as well. Both times the Jetta came out on top, with 495 miles distance and positive 678 kilometers displacement. On to inertia, and you can't have inertia without the father of science, Sir Isaac Newton. Newton's first law states that objects at rest or in motion stay at rest or in motion unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. In this case, the car doesn't move till we give it gas and the engine propels it forward. The same way the car keeps going until we slam on the brakes, which keeps us from careening into the cornfield. And you can't have a car's test without acceleration. On both cars, we tested them from 0 to 60 miles per hour and got the average velocity with the equation final velocity minus initial velocity divided by time. 60 miles an hour comes out to 27 meters per second, minus 0 meters per second since it started at rest, and the Sienna did it in 8.1 seconds for a total of 3.3 meters per second squared acceleration. We did the same thing with the Volkswagen Jetta, which was slightly more fun, using the same equation. Again, we used velocity instead of speed since it's a vector quantity and includes the direction that's needed for acceleration. Again, the initial velocity was 0 since it was at rest, and the final velocity was 27 meters per second, or 60 miles an hour. The Jetta did it in 7.4 seconds for 3.6 meters per second squared acceleration, slightly faster than the Sienna. Newton's second law is simply the equation force equals mass times acceleration. That means that if we have the mass and acceleration of the cars, or anything for that matter, we can also get their force. Since we just got the acceleration, we can plug that in, and 2,134 kilograms of mass, along with the 3.3 meters per second squared of acceleration, equals 7,042 newtons of force. Similarly, for the car, we use the same equation. Force equals 1,368 kilograms times the 3.6 meters per second squared of acceleration for a total of 4,924 newtons. Newton's third law states that for every force there is an equal and opposite force pushing against it. This is significant when you're driving because you need the road pushing back against your tires to propel your car forward. You can see our car is sliding and the snow didn't provide that traction. Although both cars handled relatively well in the snow, the Sienna was slightly more agile, which is to be expected of a smaller car. Newton's third law is also seen when you slam on the brakes and is incorporated into our seat belts, which keep us from flying through the windshield. So, which car was better? Well, isn't it obvious? With its superior distance, superior acceleration, and superior handling, the Jetta, of course, came out on top. Although the Sienna is the first choice for soccer moms everywhere.